All right, we're going to deal with another word today in front desk sales in your healthcare practice. That another word that people don't like to use, and it's the word control. That's in the title today. Maintaining control of the conversation is key here. And let me jump higher level real quick and then come back down in the weeds. Maintaining control, and what you hear frequently in your office and what I frequently hear is, oh my God, the people just wouldn't stop talking. Oh my God, I couldn't get them to stop talking. Oh my God, they were sharing, right? Or, oh, I couldn't get what I needed from them because they were talking too much. That means you lost control of the conversation. So control is not a bad word, right? Control means you are fully cognizant of the questions you are asking. Whew, right? You are fully cognizant of the questions you are asking and the results you want from that question. That's maintaining control. So, if maintaining control means I am fully cognizant of the questions I am asking and the answers I am looking for, then guess what? In a front desk sales conversation with a potential new patient, I hope you're sitting down because I measure this and I can measure this for you. The person who talks least is in control of the conversation. Yes, you heard that right. And think back. So the person who's talking the least is in control of the conversation with the context of what I just said, right? That means you're fully cognizant of the questions that you are going to ask because you know the results you want. And let me give you the bestest example that you will all be able to relate to, as I did for a long time. Remember, I did these calls for over a year, right? And I still listen to calls and I do secret callers. Here's the gig. And I don't hide this. I tell everybody I did it poorly. So everything I tell you to do, I didn't do. Everything I tell you not to do, I did, right? And that's how I got here during this journey. It's been a long journey. So the key is to understand the intent of the question you have, right? So how do 99.9% of the calls start, right? And I'm jumping ahead a little bit, right? There should be some acknowledgement and stuff. But how do 99% of the calls start, even when people have good intentions and want to learn more about the person? And they say, man, we make these calls about the people. And I'm like, awesome. But then you give up control, right? And these are the calls, right, where people go, wow, that call went really good. It was a 20-minute phone call. By the way, this is total bullshit. There's a lot of people out there coaching saying the longer the phone call, the better. That's not true. They'll be like, I just got off a 20-minute phone call. And I was like, what was the result? Oh, they didn't schedule, right? Really, right? That's not how, so how are you judging a good phone call, right? Oh, we had a great conversation. I learned a lot about them. And then you go back and listen to it, and it's you doing most of the talking. And the number one question we ask where we give up control, and we do it almost immediately, like a minute into the call, is go tell me your story. And you got to bear with me on this because we do want to learn as much as possible about people, but the cue is not to learn their story, because you're that first point of contact. You're this front desk salesperson. Your objective of this phone call is to make sure the person knows that they are in the right place at the right time, seeing the right person, right? And they understand the cost, and then they can make the best decision for themselves. So this is not the opportunity, and this is not the moment in their journey to tell their story. Bear with me on this, right? So I always say, what's the better question? What truly do we want to know? Because usually when you ask someone, what is your story? The answers you actually want are buried in the story, but you get so overwhelmed and they've gone so many different directions that you don't hear them, right? So yes, you're getting the answer, but it's convoluted because you asked the wrong question. And so if I'm going to talk less and I'm going to maintain control of this conversation, I have to ask a question that will get me to the answer I need and want quickly, while still doing all those things of knowing this call is about you, that you've called the right place, that you're making the best choice for you, that we have the right expert for you, blah, 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 all while maintaining control and talking less than the person on the other end. So let me give you a quick example of this. Instead of asking people for their story, you might start with, when did this start? right? That's a very specific question. I'm going to give you multiple examples, right? You may ask, so what is it that led you to call us today? Oh, I saw the doctor for my low back pain. Cool, Jerry. So what are you having difficulty with that led you to see the doctor? So as you can hear, we know there's a story behind this, and there could be a history of low back pain, but we got to find out why they are calling today. And their back pain that started 30 years ago is not the information I need right now, right? Well, I had a flare up when I was at the gym lifting. Aha, right? So you guys can see I had a flare up at the gym while I was lifting weights, right? That is an answer that now we can build better questions off of instead of going, tell me your story. Well, I've had ongoing back pain for about 20 years. When really what we needed to hear, what was going to come about 3 to 5 minutes into that story, which was, and then I was at the gym 2 months ago lifting weights, and I've had back pain and can't go to the gym ever since. Aha. As the front desk salesperson, that's what you have to grab onto today, right? So the intent of it is to find out that problem that you are having that is causing you to call us and ask us for help, which is really nice, because in that answer, you told me the problem and the solution, because I'm going to follow up with, oh, you heard it at the gym. Is the gym important to you? How often do you go to the gym, right? Is the gym important to you? Yes. How often do you go? 5 days a week. How much are you going currently? Not at all. And that's really important. I want to get back to the gym 5 days a week, right? So now we have their number one problem they want solved, and the solution, right, they want with it, right? And you heard those very specific questions. And we're acknowledging, right? You heard me acknowledging and asking a better follow-up question to continue to get those answers I wanted. That's just one example. I don't want to go too deep into that today, but I want you guys to understand that listening, right, is key. What leads to better listening and allow you to listen with full attention, right, and be mindful and be purposeful and be empathetic is asking a better question. Because sometimes when we ask for that story or something and they start going off, we lose our concentration. We start getting distracted by other things, and we don't hear that part where they mention they hurt their back at the gym. And I listen to this on calls, and then later we say, well, was there something you doing when you hurt your back? After they had already shared that, right? So maintaining control is key. Own that. And don't be afraid of that control word. Number two, or no, subheading, right? Maintaining control is key. The subheading is that person who speaks the least is in control of the conversation. The way to maintain control of that conversation is to ask better questions, ... So you can then listen and acknowledge and get the answer that you need to move the conversation forward to this person, knowing they've called the right place, that you have the right expert for them, that they know what they're going to get for their time, money, and energy. They know the cost, and they are prepared now with an increased likelihood to arrive next Thursday at 10:30. And it was all because you maintained control of this conversation by asking better questions and listening. And that listening is number one. And that was one of the hardest parts for me. And we get to those spots where we start feeling some resistance or we're losing someone, and we just start the word vomit. I did it a million times, and I hear it all the time. And I'll go into this too. I've actually heard people talk, that term, talk past the cell, don't talk past the cell. I've heard people ask good questions and start a good conversation, and they're getting the acknowledgement, and the person's like, yeah, yes, good. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, definitely want to get scheduled. And then somehow, some way, someone told them in this process, they now have to spew all the stuff that's going to happen to them. Talk about services and treatments and packages and programs and everything. And at the end of that, the person gets lost, increases uncertainty, not quite sure what they're agreeing to. And that's the person who then goes, I'll think about it. When actually you had them before, and they would have said yes to scheduling, and they would have said yes to arriving. Maintain control of the conversation by listening. And we can do that by asking better questions and then acknowledging the answers and moving the process forward. Cheers, all. Put that into work today, tomorrow. Cheers, all.